is so good to see everyone. Our staff has been, and the board has been incredibly creative the past 2 years, but it is just wonderful to be able to celebrate this special night all together without looking at little Hollywood squares. This is a night in which we take time to reflect on how fortunate we are to live in a city that cares about its people, and how thankful we are that so many people have followed the example of Fred Fletcher by giving freely of their time, talents, and resources to make our parks a treasure that we can all enjoy every day of the year. During Fred's long and productive career in Raleigh, he took time to give so much to our parks. He was a Parks Board member for 54 years and served as a chairman for 40 of those years. Today, it is estimated that our parks receive more than 4 million visits each year, and that our city is blessed with, on average, 13,000 people like you who annually volunteer their services to our parks and their programs. Tonight, we honor all of these volunteers by singling out the best of the best. This evening, we'll hear from a few important individuals who have joined us, and then we will present the awards you see listed in your program. The ceremony will take about an hour, and we will be followed with a dessert reception in the lobby. It is my pleasure to invite Jennifer Wagner, Chair of the Raleigh Parks, Recreation, and Greenway Advisory Board, to provide your official welcome for this evening.
Hi, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to the Fred Fletcher Outstanding Volunteer Awards Ceremony. This is a great night because we get to recognize some truly exceptional volunteers for the city's Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources Department. As board members, we often get to, yes, go ahead. As board members, we often get to see the hard work of our extremely dedicated staff and their consultants. But tonight, we get to recognize those individuals and groups who provide their time, talents, and resources to enhance our City of Raleigh parks, greenways, facilities, programs, and events. This year, we are honored to recognize groups and individuals who have assisted with enhancing our natural resources, coaches who mentor and work to inspire youth, and individuals who selflessly give their time to make a huge impact in our Raleigh community. Every person here tonight is special, whether you are a recipient or a nominee, and I am excited that we get to tell the community about the great work you all have done. I'd like to also take a moment to recognize those individuals that give their time every month to advise our City Council on parks, recreational activities, and greenways. The volunteers sitting up here that are or have previously served on the Parks, Recreation, and Greenway Advisory Board are, in no particular order, Carol Ashcraft, Beverly Clark, Christina Jones, Rashawn King, Dr. Carol Love, Malay Patel, Chris Pereira, Marcia Presnell Jeanette, Lindsay Saunders, Kara Strang, Mark Turner, and Scott Reston. And those not here, but equally as important, are Gregory Etheridge, Van Fletcher, Lex Janes, and Dave Toms. Now I'd like to hand it back over to Scott.
Thank you, Jennifer, and thanks to all of you for attending this evening. Fred Fletcher was a community-spirited man who loved our city and its parks. We are honored to have his son, Bill Fletcher, present with us tonight. Bill has been invested in this city all his life. He graduated from Broughton High School and NC State University and enjoyed a 25-year career in marketing and advertising. Today, Bill and his team at Keller Williams Realty are helping people buy and sell residential real estate. Bill is also an avid volunteer. He started Boy Scout units, served 18 years on the Wake Board of Education, and leads an innovative literacy program for K-2 children sponsored by his Rotary Club. Mr. Bill Fletcher.
Thank you, Scott and Chair Wagner. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Good evening, volunteers and families and supporters. I'm happy to have an opportunity to share a little bit about the person for whom this award is named, Fred Fletcher. I tried to think about what Dad would do if he were here. He'd be sure to hug all the women. He'd shake hands with everybody because he was sure there was a friend here that he had not yet met. He'd trip or stumble on the way to the platform. He'd give honor to his wife of 65 years, Margie, and he'd be bursting with pride about the park board and the entire park staff for what they do every day for the community he loves. And then he'd start to cry. That's my dad. And tell a story. Well, Dad got a phone call. As chairman of the board, you get a lot of calls. And this lady called and said, somebody is killing the trees at Shelley Park. They're drilling holes in the trees. So Dad went out to see what's going on. Turned out that there was a family of yellow-bellied sapsuckers who loved Shelley Park and were doing what they do, pecking trees and sucking sap, and it's a fairly natural occurrence. But while he was there, he looked down at that beautiful lake, and it reminded him of all the enjoyable times he had spent fishing as a boy. And he wondered, well, he didn't wonder. He picked the phone up and he called the Parks and Recreation director at that time and said, we need to do something to encourage kids to fish. You buy the fishing rods, I'll buy the worms, and we'll start a loaner program at Shelley Park. And they did. Unfortunately, in about 6 weeks, the park rangers went around and started citing people for fishing from the bank. So sometimes, spontaneity can get you in trouble. Now, I know that Raleigh Parks invests heavily in programs and services for all of our citizens, as the Ringling Brothers might say, for children of all ages. But I must tell you that I am particularly interested in and appreciative of the programs aimed at the youth of our community, for they are our future. After serving on the school board for 18 years, I know many of the children who are at risk of school failure or at risk of life failure without a caring, supportive community. You see, we share many of these children, and while the schools try to teach them to think, you volunteers work diligently with them to teach them teamwork, commitment, self-respect, dependability, sportsmanship, and responsibility. And while I know a lot about them, you actually get to know them by their faces and their names. You get to connect with them. Before Dad passed away, he had been invited to speak at a luncheon on volunteerism. Whenever I visited his apartment, there were slips of paper everywhere with little notes to himself. He had called Dean Smith and Bill Friday and Jim Hunt and asked them about their thoughts, why be a volunteer? Unfortunately, he was not able to make that speech, but I hope to share with you the essence of what he might have said. Volunteers are special people. Volunteers are lifters, carrying the load for some leaner out there. But you also know that a volunteer never asks, what's in this for me? A volunteer doesn't start out to gain glory. A true volunteer does what he or she can to make a difference in someone else's life. There's no thought of personal gain, and often there is what outsiders would call great personal sacrifice of time and finances because one chooses to give of themselves. It's interesting that volunteers are actually our greatest leaders. They may never be out front or first in line, but by their actions and commitment, they demonstrate amazing feats of leadership and some of the greatest of human values. Famous philosophers have pondered the volunteer. They have pondered the sacrificial giving of talent and time and money and you volunteers know, fill in the blank. And they've chronicled some interesting observations. This one from Ralph Waldo Emerson. It is one of the most beautiful compensations of this life that no man can sincerely try to help another without helping himself. For you see, parks, recreation, and cultural resources alone couldn't do what you do. If the paid staff provided direct services to youth without volunteers, less than 1 child in 20 would be served. Or the park funding would have to increase 20-fold or 2,000%. You see, it is you people who make this work. It's you who create our community. It's you who give us unequaled quality of life that we enjoy as a community every day. Another one of Dead's famous writers, Anonymous. His contribution will set the stage for the balance of the evening. It isn't enough to say in our hearts that we like a man for his ways. It isn't enough that we fill our minds with paeans of silent praise, nor is it enough that we honor a man as our confidence upward mounts. It's going right up to the man himself and telling him so that counts. If a man does a work you really admire, don't leave a kind word unsaid, in fear that to do so might make him vain and cause him to lose his head. But reach out your hand and tell him, well done, and see how his gratitude swells. It isn't the flowers we strew on the grave, it's the word to the living that tells. So we're here tonight to recognize you, to say thank you to you and your family and friends and employers and employees who enable you to give away so much. In this small way, we want to say, and Fred Fletcher wants to say, well done. Enjoy the evening.
Thank you, Bill. I will now call upon Lindsay Saunders, Chair of the Fletcher Awards Committee, to help us recognize some of the special individuals and groups that have joined us here tonight.
Good evening. Raleigh Parks Recreation and Cultural Resources volunteers have been honored in this fashion since 1996. A total of 326 individuals or organizations have been recognized since then. This year, we are recognizing 14 award winners in 13 different categories. There are so many outstanding volunteers, and we had the difficult task of selecting this year's winners. All 2022 nominees have received a certificate with our sincere thanks for all they do. Would all the volunteers who were nominated for a Fred Fletcher Award this year, and this includes our award winners, please stand so that we may recognize you with a round of applause. Thank you to each of you for your service. I would like to thank the Fletcher Committee, which has helped us plan for this year's awards program. My fellow Parks board members, please stand. Jennifer Wagner, Christina Jones, Ershawn King, Malay Patel, and honorary committee members, Scott Rustin and Mark Turner. These individuals, along with many others, have pulled together this wonderful program for you this evening. Thank you. I would also like to take the opportunity to thank the Triangle Community Foundation, Fred and Margie Fletcher Volunteer Award Fund for their support in making this event possible. At this time, I invite our Parks Board Chair, Jennifer Wagner, to come to the table to assist me in presenting the awards.
And now for our awards presentation. For those receiving awards tonight, when your award is being introduced by one of our presenters, please come forward and join us on the stage. You can use the stage stairs to your right, along with the person or persons who nominated you for your award. Each winner will receive an engraved award, and individual winners will receive a green jacket symbolic of the one that Fred Fletcher always wore whenever he was volunteering for the city of Raleigh. Please wear it proudly as you continue to help make Raleigh Parks a shining asset for our city. Our first award this evening is the Harvey Carcivar Award. This is presented to an outstanding youth basketball coach who volunteers and who follows in the footsteps of Mr. Carcivar. Will Jason Clemens please come forward to present this award?
I want to take the time and thank our city leaders and city management team for allowing the athletics program to present one of our outstanding youth basketball coaches the 2022 Harvey Carcivar Award. I also want to thank all of our youth coaches, regardless of the sport, for their service, particularly during these last 2 years. Mrs. Carcivar, who is unable to attend this evening, also sends her love and appreciation to our award recipient, as well as those that have worked so hard to put this event together this year. The Harvey Carcival Award is an annual acknowledgement given to one individual basketball coach that exhibits the ability to promote passion, integrity, and positive life skill development to his or her players, coaches, and parents throughout the season. This award derived from the lasting legacy left by the late Harvey Carcivar, who became one of our program's most admired and dedicated coaches. Coach Carcivar will often go above and beyond to assist his players with developing the knowledge and skills they could use both on and off the court. Furthermore, his coaching style exemplified what our staff envisions all of our coaches to be within our athletic program. This year's 2022 Harvey Carcival Award winner is Coach Mario Austin. Coach Austin has coached youth basketball with Raleigh Parks and Recreation for 3 years and has been fortunate enough to coach 2 of his daughters through our Raleigh leagues and programs. What Coach Austin likes about coaching is helping kids believe in themselves and seeing them light up when they achieve something on the court. Coach Austin always believes in the importance of instilling confidence into his players at every chance he gets. He believes this is an important aspect of self-growth and the ability to get better in the sport. And though one of Coach Austin's greatest joys is being able to coach his daughters, perhaps his greatest seasonal achievement is having his players tell him that they really enjoy playing with his team regardless of the outcome of the season. Coach Austin views this as proof that he has affected his players in a positive way. As is a primary theme with most valuable and unique coaches, he always stresses fun, playing together as a team. He coaches with the motto, "We always finish what we start, and we will get more done working together as one unit." Oftentimes, Coach Austin will reflect on those seasons where his team did not accomplish the strongest win-loss record, but achieved success because of the improvements made by individual players during the season. This was never more evident than when one of his teams was down to 4 players. At the end of regulation, one of his players hit a last-second shot to send the game into overtime. That game went on to be the team's only win that season, but the joy his team expressed when the horn sounded was amazing to watch. They were jumping for joy and bursting with confidence as they celebrated what they were able to accomplish. But it was the words of kindness and the end-of-season thank you cards he received that gave him the warmest feeling of all. Coach Austin's influence is never more admired than when past players will reach out to him seeking advice and inviting him to their games. At the end of the day, Coach Austin wants to be remembered as a coach that left a positive impact on his players, and he considers himself lucky and fortunate to possibly be one of those coaches. Therefore, it is with my utmost respect and gratitude that I present Coach Mario Austin the 2022 Harvey Carcival Award.
Our next award this evening is the Outstanding Athletic Volunteer. This is presented to an individual who demonstrates a high degree of personal commitment needed to organize, teach, and instill good sportsmanship and enhance our athletic program. Will Malay Patel please come forward to present this award?
What started as something to do in college for your free time with your buddies has turned into a lifelong passion for this particular person. 28 years serving as a coach and helping kids develop. This is not a small feat, and it is his dedication to instilling the good civic values that really sets this person apart. In his league, there are no favorites. He believes that the sum is always greater than the parts of each. On game day, everyone works hard because you either win or lose as one team. And on the court, everyone is treated with equal respect and through the same sportsmanship. He's humble, and he'll say that he does this because he enjoys spending time with the kids, and he's been doing this for so long. But the reality is that the Green Road Recreation Center and the city of Raleigh is truly blessed to have him shape a whole new generation that is more responsible, that is more passionate, and that truly understands how to be better citizens in our community beyond just playing the sports. And so it is my pleasure to present the Outstanding Athletic Program Award to Rodney Adams. Thank you, Rodney.
The next award, Outstanding Financial Contributor, is presented to an organization that has made significant monetary or in-kind donation to the department. Will Lindsay Saunders please come forward to present this award?
You've probably seen the soccer and futsal pitches around Raleigh by now. There were 2 pop-ups, one downtown, just a few blocks from here in City Plaza, and the other at majestic Dix Park. Permitted installations at Brentwood Park and Peach Road Cultural Center. Last summer, I marveled at the joy and energy people were sharing while playing at the pitch in City Plaza. The joy and energy was something that Ashley Busey of the Busey Foundation, the Busey family, wanted to offer in the form of safe, local spaces for people to play in and near their communities. She and her husband are busy parents with 3 kids, yet they're still thinking about what strengths they have to give back and share with Raleigh. I asked her why. She said they recognize the passion that unites people in sports and noted that there was a need for safe, unstructured play places in and around Raleigh. Sports, she reminded me, teach soft skills, are good for our health, and grow confidence. The Busey Foundation sought to activate those spaces as the social fabric of Raleigh. It's been remarkable how quickly they were built and how much they have already enhanced our communities. People of all ages are coming out to the pitches to see what's there now and what's offered in these untapped resources. More are still to come, thanks to the collective force of public-private partnerships with a goal of 25 in Raleigh. This isn't just about deciding what the need is, though. Right now, the Busey Foundation is trying to make sure that what they saw as a need was a need truly desired and needed by the folks in the community. So they've been doing a lot of talking and a lot of listening, and they're intentional about finding just the right materials for each location, because each location around our city is unique. I so appreciate that thoughtfulness and the spirit in her voice when we spoke, and how she reflected how soccer can draw people to an area, a community, and from there, more grows as people come together on those pitches. We greatly appreciate your generosity in this great gift and work for our city, the Busey family. It's because of people like you that we see how a park can truly change a community. Thank you for helping put the pieces of that beautiful fabric together. So I'd like to welcome the Busey family to come up if they'd like, including Cooper, or just Ashley. Come up and receive your award.
The next award to be presented is Outstanding Greenway Volunteer. This award is presented to an individual who has consistently demonstrated devotion to the care and enhancement of the capital area Greenway system. Will Jennifer Wagner please come forward to present this award?
So in this case, the award is being presented to a company, to Stewart Engineering, and here tonight with us to accept the award are Jake Petrosky and Chad Sari. I had the benefit of working at Stewart years ago, so I have met these gentlemen in the past, I'm happy to say. When I spoke to Jake about this award, the first thing he said was to be sure to note that the award is for all of the community planning department at Stewart. He pointed out that even the CEO, Willie Stewart, has come out to clean the Greenway with them a few times. Although Stewart as an organization has been cleaning sections of the Greenway for years, this most recent adoption along the Walnut Creek Greenway was initiated by former city employee and then Stewart employee Todd Delk. After Todd passed away in 2019, the Community Planning Department at Stewart kept the adoption and consistent cleaning of this section of Greenway in honor and in memory of him. As Jake said, Todd was really committed to the city of Raleigh and volunteering in different ways. He was passionate about greenways and biking in general, giving everybody access to safe ways to bike and walk around the city for both transportation and recreation. He lit up whenever he was talking about biking or was actually biking, and was very committed to the city in lots of different ways. Anyone who knows Todd knows that's true. Stewart adopted the section of trail along the Walnut Creek Greenway because they wanted to be close to the Neuse River Trail, which they had designed a number of years ago, and the section of Greenway Trail connects to it. They also wanted to help clean up an area that really needed help. This Greenway Trail is in a lower income area with adjacent residential development that was in need of adoption. Because of flooding and being downstream from both Cary and Raleigh, this area gets a lot of trash. This helps to motivate the Stewart staff when they clean the trail because they feel like they make a difference. As Jake said, everybody deserves access to a greenway and nature without having to see things they don't want to see. Jake also pointed out that the philosophy of their company is to strengthen communities, and there is a strong commitment to community service. They encourage staff to volunteer in the community and help out by investing and doing good in the community, both in your work and outside of your assigned role. Plus, Jake mentioned that they have a lot of fun doing the cleanups. They usually go out on Friday afternoons after work, and they make a social event out of it. And they have found lots of interesting items, including a bike in the creek, a gas grill, and a shed that blew onto the trail. They had to notify park staff to get help with that one. They also donated a bench to the Parks Department in Todd's honor. The bench is located at the Rose Garden because he loved the Rose Garden too, and that was where staff needed it most. Thanks to Jake and all the folks at Stewart for their dedication to the Walnut Creek Greenway Trail and for their efforts in honoring Todd as they do good work for the community.
Our outstanding Adopt a Park volunteer is presented to an individual who has consistently gone above and beyond the call of duty for a specific park as a leader in the city's Adopt a Park program. Will Christina Jones please come forward to present this award?
Tonight's award goes to Mr. Mike Burkhead for his outstanding service in the Adopt a Park program. Back in February, the committee had the privilege to go through nominations made to the city for many categories. It was an amazing experience to go through so many stories of residents who go above and beyond to show their love for our beautiful Raleigh Park system. At first glance, I was impressed by the 150 visits that accounted for roughly 275 hours volunteered by Mr. Burkhead. His tireless commitment and enthusiasm for Fred Fletcher Park is the kind of inspiration that we need. He is not a fair weather volunteer either. He comes out rain or shine, blazing hot or cold. He is deeply appreciated by park's maintenance staff and by the countless patrons who walk and enjoy the park every day. After playing phone tag for a little while, I was able to connect with Mike over the phone to thank him for everything he has done and congratulate him on this much-deserved award. He moved to the area in 1980 and retired in 2015. He encourages people to come out with him and help and can often be seen with a group of 5 or 6 other volunteers. Thank you for bringing other people to our park system. From invasive species removal to planting, mulching, trash cleanup, or dog waste removal, Mr. Burkhead's passion for the park is unmatched. Thank you so much for your service.
The outstanding adult program volunteer is presented to a group or individual that demonstrates a high commitment and efforts to the enhancement of the adult program. Will Carol Ashcraft please come forward to present this award?
For anybody who is thinking about retirement or has watched a family member struggle with the decisions that are made, that person knows it's a complicated process. Fun isn't usually the word that people use to describe this process. For Larry Bradbury, though, counseling and helping people through it is actually enjoyable. It's fun, he says. It's a very rewarding thing to do. I get to meet a lot of interesting people. Larry is a volunteer counselor at the 5 Point Center for Active Adults, where he has been volunteering since the day it opened in 2012. He explains options offered by the state's Medicare and Seniors Health Insurance Program, or SHIP. Larry says he meets people from all walks of life. Everybody from senior executives with a good grasp of finance and other issues to those who arrive, as he puts it, looking like deer in the headlights. He gives his clients homework to do, such as finding out whether their current medical providers will take Medicare. The people who came in clueless then work with him to develop a plan. After that, they feel a lot better, and they say so, he says. He recalled one person who hadn't reviewed their drug plan in 5 years. Working together, Larry and the client were able to save $2,000 to $3,000 by changing drug plans and choosing a different pharmacy. That's got to be just one example of the dedication that makes Larry Bradbury an outstanding volunteer. And I know he will appreciate the efficiency of this little talk.
The Outstanding Volunteer Group Award is presented to a group that contributes time and talents to enhance several of our City of Raleigh parks. I'd like to invite Kara Strang to come forward and present this award.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kara Strang, and I'm excited to be here tonight to recognize Xylem as our 2022 Fred Fletcher Outstanding Volunteer Group. Xylem has been volunteering with the City of Raleigh for the past few years as part of its Watermark Corporate Social Responsibility Program. The Watermark program's mission is to provide education and equitable access to safe water and sanitation to support healthy lives and help build resilient communities. Xylem employees enjoy volunteering with the Raleigh Parks Rec and Cultural Resources Department because it fits nicely into their mission and offers a large, organized, and well-structured volunteer program where they can see the immediate impact of their volunteer work and the impact that it has on the environment. As part of one particularly memorable volunteer experience in March of 2021, Xylem employees planted over 200 trees along the Neuse River Greenway to help combat an invasive species that is killing trees in North Carolina and 30 other states across the country. Xylem volunteers worked tirelessly to get each sapling into the ground using specific techniques and, according to the event organizer, set the bar for what is possible to accomplish during a restoration planting event. We're so grateful to Xylem and its employees for their dedication to the environment and to our community.
Our first Outstanding Project Volunteer Award is presented to a group who have shared their time and effort towards the enhancement of our parks through a specific project related to disc golf course enhancement. Will Scott Rested please come forward to present this award?
Have you ever played disc golf? It's a lot of fun, and I'll go ahead and say it right now that I think disc golf is the best golf. I mean, you don't need any fancy, expensive equipment. You're likely to be in the shade because they haven't cut down all the trees to make the course. And you may not know it, but there are a lot of really good disc golf courses in this area. One in particular is the course over at Kentwood, not too far from here, near NC State's campus. And it is one of the busiest, most played courses in the country. But the Kentwood Disc Golf Club has never taken that fact for granted. they've been working since the 80s to help maintain and improve the course that they love. In 2018, Mike Kirsch registered the Kentwood Disc Golf Club as a nonprofit to help continue to raise money and awareness of the course and to organize volunteers for projects. Through the past several years, the Kentwood Disc Golf Club has gone above and beyond their expected participation as part of the Adopted Parks program, raising over $12,000 to update Kentwood's baskets and tee pads. They ordered the best baskets for the course and donated them to the city and advised on their placement and installation. They collaborated with Parks and Rec to pick the best location for the starting tee pads as well. And probably most importantly, they organized large groups of volunteers to lift heavy things and help pour lots and lots of cement. I was lucky enough to help participate in one of those work days. I have a son that likes to play on that course, and I wanted to do a project with him, and we lugged a lot of concrete around. But what I was most impressed with was the group's culture of service. We were working on a Friday morning, and people would come up for their game, trying to knock out a round before they went to school or to work, and they see us working, and they'd immediately say, "What can I do?" And they'd join in right away. Throughout every year, Kentwood Disc Golf Club also makes sure that everyone else gets to enjoy the club or enjoy the course by organizing clinics, leagues, special events, all while mulching, pruning, helping with the cleanliness and the maintenance of the course. They work really hard to make sure that everyone gets to share and enjoy this great course. So I'm very happy to present Mike Kirsch and the Kentwood Disc Golf Club with the Fred Fletcher Award for Outstanding Project Volunteer Group for all their hard work.
Our second Outstanding Project Volunteer Award is presented to an individual who has shared their time and effort towards the enhancement of our parks through a specific project related to bird boxes. Marty Kane could not be in attendance this evening, so accepting on her behalf is Joel Bateman, who nominated her. Will Malay Patel come forward to present this award?
For the second time this evening, I get to present an award to an individual that went above and beyond for our parks, our community, and our natural resources. And while Marty's not here today to accept the award, she leaves an incredible legacy behind. For the past 40 years, she has diligently tried to preserve and educate. From working at the Catawba Museum, to being involved with Project Wild, to being a park manager, to teaching the teachers how to enrich our kids' curriculum on the local fauna and flora, she has done it all. She's an encyclopedia of all native species, of birds, and really any animals, and how interconnected and fragile our ecosystem is. Over the last few years, as the development in our area booms, she has been pivotal in preservation efforts for the native cavity nesters that have suffered tremendous loss of habitat. I'd like to present the award for the Outstanding Project Volunteer to Marty King.
The next award, Outstanding Park Volunteer, is presented to a group or individual that has consistently demonstrated devotion to the care or enhancement of our city parks. Will Marcia Presnell-Jeanette come forward to present this award?
His high school required all students to do 100 hours of volunteer work over the course of 4 years. As a freshman, Thomas began his volunteer work at DeGrant Nature Park. And then he proceeded to start volunteering at Horseshoe Farm Nature Preserve. He found he enjoyed doing invasive species removal very satisfying, and he quickly reached his 100 hours in his freshman year. Thomas was not ready to stop doing something that he enjoyed and made such a big difference. Therefore, Thomas continued as a regular volunteer for all 4 years in high school, volunteering 100 hours each year. While doing the invasive species removal, he met some interesting people and especially enjoyed getting to know the park staff with whom he worked, and he learned a lot. Thomas said he found doing this physically demanding work as a worthwhile experience, as well as he found it relaxing. Thomas is a student at Norwich University in Vermont, and I enjoyed having some time with him last week. And Thomas, would you come forward to receive your award?
The next award is for the Outstanding Program Volunteer. This was presented to an individual who shares time, talents, and resources towards the enhancement of a specific City of Raleigh program. Will Chris Pereira come forward to present this award?
Good evening. I have the pleasure to present the Outstanding Program Volunteer Award to Jay Walden. Jay has coached baseball and football as a head coach and an assistant in our youth rec leagues for close to 20 years. Jay has coached dozens of teams and countless young players, and I asked him if there was any one particular team that stood out in his memory. Instead of one of his many championship teams, he told me about a team that had struggled one entire season. Now, the struggle wasn't easy on the team, and it wasn't easy on Jay either, but he came back and he coached them the very next year. And before their first practice, Jay asked them, "Do you expect to win this year?" And his team, just like any team, got really excited and said, "Yeah, we want to win this year." And Jay looked at them and he said, "That's not what I asked you." He said, "Look at those guys." And he pointed at players on another team, on another field. And he said, "Do you think they want to win?" And they said, "Yeah, they probably want to win too." And he pointed at another team. He said, "Do you think they want to win?" And they said, "Yeah, they probably want to win too." And Jay said, the difference between a team that wants to win and a team that expects to win is what they do before they step on the field. So Jay went on to tell them that the difference in what you do before you step on the field comes down to your work. It comes down to your preparation. And you can improve yourself, whether you're good at a sport or whether you're bad at a sport, and you can make yourself the very best player that you personally can be. And then, and only then, have you earned the right to expect to win when you step on the field. And you might still lose, and he told them that. He said, you might step on a field and expect to win, and the other team is prepared better than you, or they're just better than you. But at least when you lose in that situation, you're not going to hang your head. You're going to know that you gave it your all, and you put your best self out there. The message clicked. That team, that season, turned it all around. They worked hard, they put in the effort, and they reaped the rewards, and they had a better season than they did the year before. And the message was so resounding that Jay has told it to all of his teams since then. And the message applies off the field as well. It applies whether you're standing at home plate, or it applies whether you're at home, whether you're taking out the trash or whether you're studying for a test. You give it your all, you work hard, and you give it your best, and then you expect to win. Expect to win. We often tell kids that winning isn't everything, that it's more important how you play the game. I think Jay's message to his players is the same, but it adds a fresh ring to it. Work hard, be your best, so that you've earned the right to expect to win. It's ironic because Jay didn't expect to win this award tonight. None of our volunteers do what they do because they wanted recognition, and Jay's not alone in that regard. But I think that him earning this award just goes to show you that if you work hard and you persevere and you're your best self on a regular basis, in the end, we all can expect that every once in a while we can expect to win. Ladies and gentlemen, Jay Walden.
The Outstanding Teen Volunteer is presented to a teen that demonstrates a high degree of commitment to the program, event, or park. I'd like to invite Lindsay Saunders to come forward and present this award.
When I saw that Sydney Howard was nominated for the Outstanding Teen Award, I was not surprised. She's been on just about every other Parks Board Zoom I've been on over the past 2 years. during her junior and senior year of IB High School. Our agenda used to feature the Raleigh Youth Council towards the end of our meetings, and there she would be, waiting patiently to give us her update and to connect with us. Eventually, we rearranged our agenda, and then we got to start off our meetings with her enthusiasm instead. I had the privilege of on a one-on-one Zoom with Sydney recently. Sydney has spent her whole life in the same house in North Raleigh. At Millbrook High School, she's been part of the Key Club, National Honor Society, and International Baccalaureate, but also a leader with the Raleigh Youth Council. Halloween dance for folks with special needs, helping with park cleanups, and addressing invasive species, holiday and special park sport events, dental supply drives, community socials, you name it, she's probably been involved with it. Over and over, I've heard Sydney emphasize how much she cares to build that community. This was especially important as she and her fellow IB students navigated pandemic losses and the impact on their education and socialization. They've had to make up for lost occasions interaction, but they've done it, putting a priority on building that community. I asked Sydney what she's enjoyed about being a Raleigh Youth Council liaison to the Parks Board, and she said, and I quote, "I like knowing some higher-ups in the city know about us. It gives me a sense of belonging within the city, that someone's listening. We're listening." She even helped us with Parks Bond input. You know that bond you've heard us all talking about. Yes, we're listening, and your voice matters. And we so appreciate people like you who already care about and are doing so much to shape our community. Sydney, congratulations on your award. You are an outstanding teen. Your upcoming high school and IB graduation and your future studies at UNC. Sydney plans to study radiologic science and medical imaging because it's basically community service geared towards medicine. The theme of serving her community and bringing people together to make things better continues. Sydney, I encourage you to continue inspiring us all for a better world with your leadership, contributions, and continuing to show up. Congratulations on your Outstanding Teen Volunteer Award, and come on up.
Our next award is Outstanding Cultural Resources Volunteer. This award is presented to an individual who has consistently demonstrated devotion towards the enhancement of historic resources, arts, cultural, and/or diversity programs. Will Mark Turner come forward to present this award?
Good evening. I am delighted to present the award for our 2022 Outstanding Cultural Resources Volunteer to Alicia Mcgill. Alicia is serving her third term on the Historic Resources and Museums Advisory Board, otherwise known as HRMAB, where she's been heavily involved with helping guide historic projects, particularly relating to the historic Oberlin Village site. Alicia started service with the Friends of Oberlin Village organization, whose mission is to honor the community of Oberlin Village through preservation and education. She was then recruited to serve on the HRMAB board. As a board member, Alicia organized the Oberlin Festival in 2019 and hopes to do it again someday. I like how she's sort of come full circle in that she was initially helping out with Friends of Oberlin Village, and now she's continuing that work from the perspective of a board member. Alicia is an associate professor of history at NC State and has served on state boards and commissions in the past. She was interested in serving on the HRMAB board because she wanted to do something in her own backyard, as she puts it. She's enjoyed learning about the city's master planning process and the process of bringing stakeholders together. She finds it exciting to shape how we honor and preserve our history, and has especially enjoyed her work with Oberlin Village and meeting the Latta ancestors. Alicia's professional historical background, combined with her commitment to public service, has greatly benefited our understanding and honoring of our community's heritage. Please join me in congratulating Alicia Mcgill as our Fred Fletcher Outstanding Cultural Resources Volunteer.
Our final award of the evening, the Award of Excellence, is presented to a person or group who exhibits the best example of volunteer action to improve the quality of service and facilities of the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources Department. Contributions of this volunteer have a continuing impact on the quality of services offered by the department. Will Rayshawn King please come forward to present this year's Award of Excellence?
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. There we go, there we go. My name is Rashawn King. I'm here to present the Award of Excellence to Mr. Peter Davis. But before I do that, I want to shine a little light on Mr. Peter, so bear with me. I have met a lot of people that have dedicated their time to volunteer for their services or their time for the City of Raleigh Parks and Recreation. I am one of those people as well. But I've never met an individual like Mr. Peter Davis. This man has dedicated 9 long years of volunteer service with a running tab of 246 hours of volunteer work for the City of Raleigh Parks and Recreation. Mr. Peter's passion and willingness to volunteer consistently displays how remarkable of a person he is. His passion and willingness comes from internally, but not only from internally from within himself, but from his family and from his wife. When Mr. Peter is not spending time with his family, he's either eating his favorite food, which is ice cream, which I think that's everybody's favorite food or dessert, or he is volunteering his time as a caretaker for a small condominium community that runs parallel to Crabtree Creek. Upon his retirement, him and his wife came across a lovely lady named Miss Cindy Trumbauer 10 years ago in regards to volunteering for the City of Raleigh Parks and Recreation, Raleigh Rose Garden. Ever since that day, he has been volunteering to help with the Raleigh Rose Garden. Mr. Peter told me that every aspect of tending to his roses is what brings him joy. He gets up early every morning to attend to his rose beds. He told me that his rose beds is his joy and his passion and his love to what he likes to do in life. He said when he's working with his rose garden and attending to his roses, it has his undivided attention. There's no distractions. There's no multitasking. There's no hurrying up and checking the box on the list, on the to-do list. When he's locked in with his roses and his rose beds. But he did state that throughout all his time as a volunteer for the City of Raleigh Parks and Recreation for the rose gardens and his rose beds, that the one thing that he really enjoyed the most is noticing the visitors that have discovered the beautiful Raleigh Rose Garden as well. It is such an honor to announce the winner for this award, Mr. Peter Davis.
On behalf of the Raleigh Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resource Department, I would like to extend a very sincere thank you to all of the outstanding volunteers that have been recognized this evening. Volunteers are truly the strength of our organization. Our department's success is directly related to our outstanding volunteers. As indicated earlier, we work with, on average, 13,000 volunteers a year. Tonight, we've honored the best of the best. They have served in many different ways, from working with Raleigh's youth, teens, active adults, families, and individuals with special needs, from park beautification projects to the planning of new parks and facilities. While they have all served in many different ways, they all share some common themes: incredible generosity, sincere passion, and the commitment to make our community better. We are a much better department, a much better city, because of the volunteers that have reached out to make Raleigh a better place to live, work, and of course, play. I would also like to extend a sincere thank you to all of the board members. They too are citizen volunteers that spend countless hours supporting, promoting, and volunteering for the department. I would like to acknowledge and thank Bill Fletcher for taking time out of their busy schedule to be here with us this evening, and also for the many volunteer efforts his many volunteer efforts in the community. I also want to thank the tremendous support we received from our elected officials, two of which are here tonight. Mr. Councilmember Corey Branch, and I believe I saw Councilmember Stormy Fort in the audience. I'm going to take a little moment of personal privilege here to thank our Parks Recreation, Parks Division staff that prepared this beautiful stage setting. So I'm going to call out some names. These are the people behind the scenes that make this happen. Our planning team of Mary Owens, Rachel Van Nort, Alanda Oliveda, Kelly Beach, Carrie McLeod, Rachel Everhart, Linda Barcelo, Libra Gaza, Randolph Johnson, our horticulture team led by Neil Weisenbaker and Laura Fredenberg, and our parks crew, Gil Young's team in District 6. This is an absolutely beautiful set, and it's always amazing when we see this. Thank you to the Raleigh Television Network, cable channel 11, for recording tonight's program. Those wondering when they may be able to see or record the program should consult the RTN website next Monday. Lastly, a former director, Diane Sauer, always shared her favorite quote for this event. It's a tradition I'd like to continue. Diane's quote came from Winston Churchill and so perfectly reflects the spirit of the individuals and organizations we lift up this evening. We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. Please join us in the Fletcher Theater lobby as we congratulate all of our outstanding volunteers. Enjoy the desserts, photo slideshow, and the special music provided tonight by our former park superintendent, Wayne Schindler. Thank you.